Hey, welcome. So, if you work with data, you totally know this feeling. You create this amazing script or model, it's powerful, it works, but then what happens next? Today, we are diving into a tool that is absolutely changing the game for how data science work gets built, shared, and actually used.
And yeah, this is the classic roadblock, isn't it? You've done the really, really hard part, the complicated analysis, the machine learning, but now all of a sudden you're supposed to be a front-end developer? You're getting tangled up in HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It's a huge time sink, and honestly, it's a completely different skill set that just pulls you away from what you're best at, the data.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to see how Streamlit turns a simple script into a full-on app. Then, we'll get our hands dirty with a little code, see how easy it is to weave in some cool interactivity, and figure out how to share our masterpiece with the world. We'll wrap things up by looking at why the developer community is just so hyped about this. All right, part one, from script to app. The whole idea here is about closing that gap, you know? How do you take the powerful logic you've written and get it into the hands of your audience fast? We're talking about a fundamentally quicker way to build that bridge. And here is the solution, Streamlit. It's an open source framework that lets you build and share web apps entirely in Python. Now, the key phrases to remember here are in minutes and no front-end experience required. And this is so crucial. It was designed from the ground up for data scientists and analysts, not for web developers. It really speaks your language. Okay, let's move on to our second section, your first lines of code. Now, Streamlit makes this really bold claim. You can get started in under a minute. And I know that can sound like a total exaggeration, but it's not. Let's break down just how unbelievably simple it is. That's it. Seriously, if you have Python on your machine, you just pop open your terminal, type pip install Streamlit, hit enter, and you are ready to go. And just to prove that everything's working, you can immediately run Streamlit hello, and it'll launch a demo app right there in your browser. It's just that simple. And right here, this is where it all clicks. See, on the left, that's just a Python script. You're not writing any HTML or any of that stuff. You're just using these super straightforward commands like st.write or st.linechart right in your code. Streamlit sees that script and boom, on the right, it instantly turns it into a clean, functional web app. It's a direct one-to-one translation from your script to a user interface. All right, section 3 is where the real magic happens, weaving in interaction. I mean, a static chart is fine, but an interactive dashboard? That's a total game changer. Now, this is usually where other frameworks get super complicated, but with Streamlit, adding that layer of user control isn't some huge extra step. As you're about to see, it's as simple as declaring a variable. So you want a slider to filter your data. That's one line of code, st.slider. A color picker, st.color_picker. Every one of these commands adds a cool, interactive widget to your app, and it gives you the user's input back as just a normal Python variable. You don't have to think about backends or HTTP requests or state management. Nope, Streamlit just handles all of that for you. Okay, now for a really critical step, actually deploying your app. Once you've built something awesome, you need to get it in front of people. And Streamlit gives you two really clear paths here. And it all depends on if you're sharing with the public or deploying it inside a company. So let's break down these two options. On the one hand, you've got the Streamlit Community Cloud. This is totally free. It's perfect for public projects, your personal portfolio, sharing research with the world. You just need a GitHub account. But on the other hand, for professional, secure use, you have enterprise options right within the Snowflake ecosystem. This path gives you things like unlimited private apps, enterprise-grade security, and really strong integrations for businesses that need that control and reliability. So for our last section, let's talk about the impact, right? We've seen how it works, but what's the actual verdict from the people who are using it every day? We're going to look at some social proof and see exactly why developers are falling in love with this tool. Well, for starters, just look at this number. Over 90% of Fortune 500 companies are using Streamlit. This tells you right away this isn't just some fun side project tool. No, it is trusted and it is deployed at the highest levels of enterprise. And this quote from Vinay Babu, man, this just perfectly captures that aha moment. It speaks directly to that feeling of regret that so many of us have felt over all that time wasted on traditional web development. It's a pain point that Streamlit just completely solves. And check out this productivity shift put into numbers. Atharva Engel shows how Streamlit literally flipped his time distribution from spending 80% of his time on the front end to spending 100% of his time on the actual logic and machine learning. This is huge. It lets experts stop being mediocre web developers and go back to being great data scientists. Now this is a big statement. Comparing Streamlit to the rise of IPython notebooks, what we now call Jupyter notebooks, that's framing it as more than just a useful library. It's being seen as a fundamental shift in the entire data science workflow, a truly transformative tool for the field.
So let's boil this all down. What are the key takeaways? First, Streamlit lets you build apps incredibly fast using only Python. Second, adding interactivity is as simple as a single line of code. Third, you've got powerful deployment options, whether it's for free to the community or professionally on Snowflake. And most importantly, it gets you out of the web development business and keeps you focused on what really matters, the data.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. The barrier between your analysis and a real, shareable, interactive application has just been smashed. So the only question left is, with that power at your fingertips, what are you going to build first?